Good morning, everybody. Today is 23rd of August, and welcome to the Hindu newspaper analysis discussion. So, guys, in the today's video, we'll be starting the entire analysis of the Hindu newspaper, and we will be seeing the articles along with the background as well as the way forward in the articles. Now, guys, first of all, I would like to tell you that you can download the explainer PDF from the Telegram channel, and you can use this particular explainer PDF along with the video. Okay, so that these notes can be downloaded, and the link for the Telegram channel has been given in the description box. Now, before starting up, first of all, let's take the overview of the entire newspaper in order to understand that which articles are going to be important in the today's newspaper. So this is the page number 1. Here I have the Delhi edition. Now the first article that talks about is to salvage a World Cup, Supreme Court sends back ball to the AIFF court. So guys, recently what has happened, the sports governance in India got basically there was certain problems, and in that direction a committee of administrators was constituted for AIFF. So we'll see this particular article and we'll see that what's the issue. IS man plotting attack on Indian leader held Russia. Okay, guys, the article is not important with respect to the UPSC. Moving on, Jammu and Kashmir parties opposed voting rights for the outsiders. I am a Rajput want bow before the corrupt. Now these are the political articles. You don't need to go into this particular line, not important for our UPSC examination. Then guys, in the city section, BJP is leading to the laundry politics and all these things are going on. So guys, in the entire regional section, the crime related news, political allegations on each other, advertisements, etc. have been given. Okay, so no need to go too much into the detail in this particular line. Then guys, we'll be coming to the editorial page. Moreover, if you have the different edition of the Hindu, your regional section will be different. Now coming to the editorial page. So the first article talks about the road to China's 20th party congress. So we'll see the China's 20th party congress that is going to be held by the end of this year, and we'll see that what are the prospects in this particular direction. Then factoring the risk. So guys, this article is talking about that how the development and the environment, they are coming in conflict, particularly into the region of Himalayas. We'll see this particular article. Then crowded at the top. So guys, this article is talking about the chess. Okay, so and in this particular direction the details have been given. Okay, then moving on, how narratives might change in 2024. So guys, this is a political article and it talks about that, okay, how the BJP's their narrative, they will be changing, on what lines they might mobilize the people. Okay, and all those things are provided. Now guys, in this particular direction you don't need to go in such kind of an articles, because these are the political issues and the political issues are not important for our examination. Okay, so and moreover it is just a kind of a speculation and therefore not very much important. Then guys, moving on, no centers of learning yet. So this article is talking about the Anganwadi centers and the ICDS scheme. Very important article for our exam. We'll see this article. Executions in Myanmar. So this article is talking about the conditions, the political turmoil going on in Myanmar. We'll see this particular article also in the detail. Now this is a very good article that has come, and it is talking about that how the center and the state, how the center and states are in a confrontation. So the fiscal federalism of India, we'll see with this particular article, a very good article. Then guys, moving on, the text and the context, the controversy around the Delhi excise policy. So basically guys, what happened last year in the month of the November, the Delhi government changed their excise policy for the liquor excise policy. They said that earlier there were the government owned liquor stores in the Delhi, then the private sector came in between, then the BJP and the other ruling parties had said that the Aam Aadmi party had taken some kickbacks in that particular thing, and now there is a political issue that is going on. Now guys, you don't need to go in this particular article because this is a very politically inflamed article and such things are not important for the examination. Then Kerala Savari, India's first online taxi service, is a public option. So the government of Kerala has launched this application Kerala Savari, where the taxis will be provided to the people. So guys, it is talking about that, okay, what are the features of this particular application and all these kind of things, what will be the tariffs and such kind of things are there. Okay, now guys, with respect to the UPSC, academic substance is not there in this particular article. Then guys, moving on, so basically this article is a bibliography article. It is talking about the basically the imaginary and real worlds of Salman Rushdie. So recently Salman Rushdie was attacked. Now guys, in this particular direction, okay, the certain of the books and their references are being given. So guys, these bibliography articles are not again relevant for your UPSC examination. If you want to read it out of interest, out of leisure, you can read it, but not for the examination. Then guys, moving on, after that fearing ban, center rushes to IOA affairs. We'll see this particular article. Then moving on, then constituent bench to hear Delhi plea. Okay, so guys, this particular article is talking about the posting of the officials, okay, in that particular direction. Then the political issues have been given, not important, political issues. Okay, you don't need to go in this particular thing. Okay, Bharat Jodo Yatra is a tapasya, says Rahul. So basically guys, it has been said that the Congress is now taking up the campaign to unite the India in face of the divisive politics and etc. Then these tenders etc. are there, not important. Tomato flu has been talked about. We'll see that what is this tomato flu and how it is presently becoming a cause of concern. India Iran sign pact to aid movement of the seafarers. Is it clear? So basically guys, here basically seafarers, okay, for that particular direction, India and the Iran has signed a pact. Now understand this particular thing, I would like to tell you a little bit. Basically, international north south transport corridor has been started recently, which will connect the India to the Central Asia, Russia via the Chabahar port of Iran. Okay, in that particular direction, the seafarers, okay, the sailors etc., for there the pact has been signed. China eases visa ban in a boost to Indian students. So basically guys, after the COVID-19 pandemic, the ban on the visa was there, okay, but there were many of the Indian students who were studying in China, they were not able to go back. Now that particular ban is being eased. Okay, then moving on, India's obsession with English is limiting the development. So basically guys, often the home minister had said this particular thing, that we should rather focus more on the vernaculars, our mother tongue, Hindi. Okay, even in this particular direction, few days back, the home minister had said this particular thing, even the legal education, medical education should be in regional languages and native languages and not on English. But guys, understand this particular thing, that we have seen one editorial also, that though we should take pride in our regional languages, native languages, but English also had a considerable role to play, being an international language, being the language of science and technology. Okay, so this is something that is going on. However, no need to go in detail in these particular kind of articles. Okay, just only headlines are to be seen here. Okay, so guys, I'm hoping that you're understanding that where only the headlines are to be seen and which articles you need to go in between, in deep. India Australia to boost ties on education. Okay, so basically guys, here it has been provided. Now you know this particular thing, that there are large number of Indian students who are going to Australia for the education. So basically, two-way mobility of university is being promoted in this particular article. Then Imran Khan charged with terrorism, not important article. Sri Lanka detained student leader, not important article. Then guys, coming on to the business page. So on the business page, auto parts sale, fine, they are improving. After that, Sensex slides 1.5%, UK shrank 11% in 2020. Now guys, these trends are not important for your examination. Okay, then after that, RDB may go slow down, find douche bank, find after that the T output, and all these things are being talked about. So guys, see, you don't need to read these particular kind of articles, because these are the datas and trends that are coming and they'll change. Okay, so I say this particular thing many number of times. Guys, keep this in your mind, that every article in the newspaper is not important. Sometimes such things are there which might be important for a few days, but now whenever you are reading newspaper, you need to understand that you are reading it for exam point of view. So only those articles are actually very important on which the question can be framed in the UPSC. So you need to understand this. And then we have the sports page, the cricket etc. are being discussed here. So guys, that is all about the overview of the articles, and now let's discuss all the relevant articles one by one in the detail. Now, in every class guys, I give you a GS quotation, the quotation that can be used in one of your GS papers in order to substantiate the quality of your answers. So today we'll be taking the quotation from the French philosopher Montesquieu. Montesquieu says that the tyranny of a prince in an oligarchy is not so much dangerous to the public welfare as the apathy of a citizen in a democracy. Now guys, understand this particular thing. In oligarchy, a prince who is not concerned about the people, a prince who is always, let's say, inflicting some kind of miseries on the people, he is a cause of concern. But more problematic than is the citizens in a democracy who are apathetic. understand this particular thing, guys, that when we talk about the common citizens, they play a very important role. They are the one who can question the government. They are the one who will keep forward the grievances of the deprived sections, grievances of the vulnerable sections. So if these citizens are apathetic means that they have a sense of indifference. Okay, whatever is happening, they don't care. So this is the apathy. So if the citizens have an apathy, they don't care. Okay, if they have a kind of an indifference, it is the most dangerous thing. It is even more dangerous, even more dangerous than the tyranny of a prince. So the citizens, they need to keep forward the grievances and the concerns of the poor people, and they need to be active. So active citizenry is the demand for the thriving democracy. Again, I'll repeat, active citizenry is the need for the thriving democracy. Very, very important idea. We can use this particular idea in GS paper number 2, governance. Now moving on, taking up the first article. Okay, to salvage a World Cup, Supreme Court sends ball back to AIFF court. Now guys, understand this particular thing, see, basically in this particular article, I will be entirely telling you that what this particular issue is, and this particular article is going to be important for GS paper number 2, issue of sports governance. Is it clear? So from the past few days, many articles on the sports governance are coming. So therefore this article could be important and a question can be asked in GS paper number 2. Now guys, before going in this particular article, let's see first of all some of the background in order to understand this particular issue. Now guys, when we talk about the sports governance in India, basically in India we have the National Sports Development Code 2011, and this National Sports Development Code 2011 provides that there needs to be the sports bodies which needs to have a considerable self autonomy. Okay, these sports bodies will be given the responsibilities for the development of a particular sports. Okay, and these sports bodies, their governing bodies need to be constituted by elected members. Okay, they should not be having the nominated members or appointed members. They need to have an elected member. Now guys, when we talk about the sports governance in India, we have first of all the Ministry of Youth Affairs and the Sports, Ministry of Youth Affairs and Sports. Then guys, we have the different bodies, different sport bodies. For example, we have the Indian Olympic Association. Now the Indian Olympic Association is responsible for India's participation into the Olympics. Okay, so then we have the State Olympics Association at the level of states. Then we have the National Sports Federation. We have. Then we have the Sports Authority of India, SAI. Then guys, for the particular sports also we have the bodies. For example, we have the All India Football Federation for the football. Okay, we have BCCI for cricket. Okay, so we have the multiple bodies for the different sports in India. Now guys, understand, I have explained you that we have the National Sports Development Code 2011, which provides that the governance in these bodies need to be by the elected members. Now guys, recently one particular issue came in the context of AIFF. AIFF stands for All India Football Federation. So guys, the governing body of the All India Football Federation, it stayed more than their mandate. Okay, so guys, for whatever period, for whatever tenure they got elected, they overstayed that particular period. Then the Supreme Court observed that the governing body had overstayed, and therefore Supreme Court ordered that the governing body of the AIFF is to be removed, and in this particular place the Supreme Court brought another body, that was the COA, Committee of Administrators, and this Committee of Administrator was given the charge of the governance with respect to the All India Football Federation. So COA, Committee of Administrator, was constituted by the Supreme Court. Now when we talk about the Supreme Court's objective was good, Supreme Court's objective was noble. Okay, but guys, this particular thing has not been taken positively by the FIFA. This particular thing has not been taken positively by the FIFA, and in this particular direction, FIFA, which is the Football Federation, it has basically banned the AIFF. The FIFA, it has banned the AIFF. Now why the FIFA has banned the AIFF? Because the FIFA says that this is a third party interference. Fine, the FIFA says that this is a third party interference, and therefore it shows that there is undemocratic exercise of sports that is going on in India. Okay, so guys, when we talk about the FIFA stands for the International Federation of Association of Football. Okay, now understand this particular thing, guys, that when we talk about recently India has to host. Okay, recently, just a minute, India has to host under 17 women's world cup in October. Now how India will host this under 17 women's world cup in October if India's football association, that is AIFF, has been banned? It is a particular concern that is coming. Okay, so guys, in this particular direction, now the Supreme Court has taken an important decision. What Supreme Court has done? Supreme Court had said that, okay, earlier decision that we gave, that is the COA's decision, that the COA, Committee of Administrator, should take the governance of the AIFF. Now we are taking back this particular decision so that AIFF's, the ban that has been imposed by the FIFA, that ban is removed and we can host the under 17 women world cup, so that there is no impact on the national pride. So the Supreme Court has taken back their decision. Is it clear or not? So what has happened? Now the Supreme Court has terminated the mandate of its Committee of Administrator that it appointed earlier. Fine. So that the All India Football Federation, which was suspended, fine, this particular ban can be removed. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that this is not the only example, this is not the only instance. On another fronts also the similar thing is happening. I'll give you one more example. So we have seen the first example of AIFF, that is the All India Football Federation. Then guys, there is one another example, that is of IOA. IOA stands for Indian Olympic Association. Indian Olympic Association. Guys, the same thing happened into the Indian Olympic Association. Their administrators, their governing body stayed longer than its tenure. Then here what happened? The Delhi High Court came. Here the Delhi High Court came, and the Delhi High Court ordered the same COA, that is the Committee of Administrators for the Indian Olympic Association. This thing also happened side by side. Now guys, the moment this particular thing happened, fine, International Olympic Association warned the India that if you will appoint this Committee of Administrator for the Indian Olympic Association, we will ban the Indian Olympic Association and will not allow the Indian Olympic Association to take part in the Olympics. Is it clear? So the same thing was being done by the Delhi High Court. So guys, the Supreme Court what has done? Supreme Court has also put a stay on this Delhi High Court's order. Supreme Court has also put a stay on this particular Delhi High Court order. Supreme Court had said that please don't do this thing, because then India will be banned. So guys, understand this particular thing. This is a classic example. This is a classic example that how sometimes things that are done in good faith, they don't fold positively. Is it clear or not? Moreover guys, this particular thing, it is being criticized also. It is being said that the FIFA which has banned the AIFF, what charge they have made? Their charge they have made is that basically the AIFF is having a third party interference. Now you need to understand that who intervention was done by the Supreme Court of India. So the FIFA should have kept in mind the dignity of the Supreme Court and should not have done the same kind of thing. Is it clear or not? But guys, anyhow, now we have closed this particular matter. The COA that was constituted, it has been taken back. Okay, and now the AIFF on which the ban was imposed, it will be removed, and the under 17 World Cup that India was going to host in October, that can happen. So this is all guys about this particular article. Now beyond this, you don't need to go in this particular article. This is the entire issue from the start till this particular time. Now moving on in the next article. This article, a center-state skew further widened. A center-state skew further widened. Now guys, this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 2, issues of fiscal federalism. Issues of fiscal federalism. Okay, very important article, a very good article. Let's understand this particular article. Before going in this particular article guys, I would like to give you some of a background, and after understanding this background, we will see that what this particular article contains. Now understand this particular thing guys, that when we talk about India happens to be the union of states. India happens to be the union of states. But at the same time, in India, we practice the federalism also. Now guys, when we talk about the federalism is a concept where the center and the states, they have their own independent powers. They are in their arena. they can make their own decisions. Okay, fine. So we follow the federalism. In the federalism, governance is divided at minimum two levels. There will be the center, there will be the state, and the states will be given its own powers. Now when we talk about in India, though the word federalism has not been there into the constitution, but still the word federalism is not there into the constitution, but still federalism is practiced. How federalism is practiced? Because we have the schedule 7. We have the schedule 7. Now this particular schedule 7 of the Indian constitution has contained three lists. There is the union list, then there is the central list, there is a union list, there is a state list, and then there is a concurrent list. Now in the union list, the subjects that have been mentioned, only the union can make the law. State list, the subjects that have been mentioned, only the state can make the law. And the concurrent list, the subjects that have been mentioned, both the union as well as the state, union as well as the state, they can make the law. So we actually follow the federalism as we have threefold list. Okay, but nowhere word federalism is being used. Now guys, when we talk about the federalism, one particular flavor of federalism is there, that is the fiscal federalism. Now the fiscal federalism simply means that there needs to be the financial resources that are to be given to the states, and the states need to be independent. States need to be made free as how they want to use those financial resources. So within the federalism, fiscal federalism has always been a very important element. And guys, in India also the fiscal federalism has been followed. How? Because guys, the states have been given the power that they can go for the taxation. The states were given the power for impose the value added tax, sales tax. Is it clear or not? Okay, so the states have been given independent power. Now guys, understand this particular thing. Basically what happened, the states had the power for the taxation, union had the power for the taxation. The GST came, goods and the services tax. GST came by the 101 constitutional amendment act. And guys, when the GST came, most of the indirect taxes were to be subsumed in the single tax, that was the GST. So most of the indirect taxes got subsumed into the GST. Now guys, I told you earlier that the state had much power with respect to many of the indirect taxes. Okay, octroi was there, fine, many such, sales tax was there, VAT was there. The states had the power. Now these particular taxes got subsumed within the GST. Are you getting it or not? And the states lost a lot of control over their taxation powers. Now what has happened? States are dependent on the union more with respect to their finances. States are dependent on the union because guys, from the GST, now the devolutions will be made to the states. Now this particular article is talking about that over the years, the states' condition with respect to their financial resources had got impacted. And as this particular condition is getting impacted, what is happening guys in India? In India, the fiscal federalism is getting diluted. Fiscal federalism is getting impacted. So first of all these particular things that we have discussed, they are not provided in this particular article, but you should know these particular issues in order to make more sense of this particular article. Is it clear or not? So you should know this particular thing. Okay, first of all. Okay, sir, I didn't understood federalism. Federalism simply means that the governance will be divided at two levels. At first level, there will be the center. At the second level, there will be the state. Center will have its own power. State will have its own power. Fine. Now coming to this article. So basically, recently guys, what has happened? Fine. Even if you are following regularly, we have seen this particular article also. Recently, what has happened? Basically, there was a Niti Aayog's meeting that happened. Now, in this Niti Aayog's meeting, there were the many chief ministers of the states. They basically put this particular point. They said that our finances had got impacted, and because of our finances had got impacted, the center needs to help us more. Now, guys, what happened here? I will tell you little bit in the detail. I'll tell you what happened here. Basically, I told you that the GST came with the 101 Constitutional Amendment Act. Fine. Now, I also told you that when the GST came, the state's power with respect to the tax, okay, it got reduced. State's power on the taxation got reduced. Is it clear or not? So this particular thing happened. Now, guys, during this particular time, the center government promised that for the next 5 years, there will be a guaranteed compensation that will be given to the states. What was said? I'll explain you. Please listen very carefully. So during this particular time, it was said that okay, 2015 and 16 will be taken as a base year. Okay, during this particular year we will see that what were the state's collection with respect to the taxes. Okay, so whatever the state's collections are there, let's say in 2015 and 16 the state A, its collection was 100 rupees. So the central government promised that okay, we will give you this 100 rupees plus we will give you 14% increment. We will give you 14% increment, and this particular amount will be given for the next 5 years. Now why this particular promise was given? So that states sign the GST. Okay, states join the GST. So what happened? Basically when the GST came, states government were promised a guaranteed compensation. What compensation? Compensation at the base of 2015-16 plus 14% increment every year, and this was promised for 5 years. Now guys, see, this particular promise got over in 2022. Now basically no such guarantee is there. So what happened in this particular Niti Aayog's meeting? In the Niti Aayog's meeting, Chief Minister said that this particular period of 5 years is now ending in 2022. Already, by the way, it has got end. So it was provided that you please extend this particular period for next 5 years. Let's say till 2027. If you don't want to give us 14%, give us less, 8%, 10%, but extend this particular period. But guys, up till now, no extension has been given. So basically in this particular Niti Aayog's meeting, the state government had said that we don't have money, our expenditures have increased so much. Now in this particular direction, guys, what are the points by which what are the reasons that the expenditures have increased? So basically see this particular thing, that state's financial health is getting impacted due to the Ujjwal Discom Assurance Yojana. Ujjwal Discom Yojana. What is this Ujjwal Discom Yojana? Basically the distribution companies, electricity distribution companies into the states, they are in a bad financial health. There are a lot of losses. Okay, now because of their losses, the state governments have to give them the financial assistance. So because of this Ujjwal Yojana, fine, the states are financials are getting impacted. Farm loan waivers have been given. Okay, so when the farm loan waivers are being given, the farmers loans are being written off, there the money is going on. After that, guys, the next thing is that there is the slowdown during the period of 2019-20. Okay, now you see this particular thing, that there was economic slowdown that was there earlier, and then the lockdown came. Because of the lockdown and the economic slowdown, both these things coupled together, so the states are getting impacted. After that, guys, there are the heightened expenses during the pandemic. Now into the pandemic, on the health, there is a lot of expenses that got increased. Fine. After that, guys, the state governments had also provided some additional entitlements to their own people from their own expenses. For example, food entitlements have been given, and many more such kind of things are there. So because of that particular thing, the expenditures increased, income went down. The state's financial health is very much problematic. Now understand this particular thing, guys, that the 15th Finance Commission that recently submitted its report, by the way, last year, 15th Finance Commission provided that when we talk about the money that the union and the state government are raising, so it has given some number. 15th Finance Commission provided that 62.7% of the total resource is raised by the union government. Let's say if total 100 rupees money is being collected, out of that 100 rupees, 62.7% is being collected by the union. But at the same time, who spends? 62.4% expenditure is actually by the state government. Okay, so guys, you can see this particular map. Now, who is raising more money? Center. Center is raising 62.7% amount via the taxation, because a lot of taxation power is with the center. Okay, the states are raising only 37.3% revenue. But when the expenditure comes, the states actually have to do 62.4% expenditure, and the center does only 37.6% expenditure. So center is raising more, but their expenditure is less. States are raising less, but their expenditures are more. This is a problem. Now, guys, in order to solve this particular problem, what happens? The Finance Commission comes in between. Now, in order to solve this particular problem or to minimize this particular problem, Finance Commission comes in between. So, Finance Commission is constituted under the article number 280 of the Indian Constitution by the President. Now, Finance Commission will recommend that how the money will be transferred from the center to the state. It will tell how much money will be transferred from the center to the state. Okay, it recommends two things. Please listen very carefully. It is a very important concept. It recommends the vertical devolution as well as the horizontal devolution. Vertical devolution means that how much money will come from center to the states. Is it clear? how much percentage of money center will give to the states. And then comes the horizontal devolution. Horizontal devolution means within the states, which state will get how much. Let's take this particular thing by the help of an example. Suppose the central government has 100 rupees. Now out of this 100 rupees a total, how much is to be given to the states? Let's say 42 rupees are to be given to the states. Okay, this is the vertical devolution. Now obviously this 42 rupees will be divided into the different states. Somebody will get 2 rupees, somebody will get 3 rupees. This is the horizontal devolution. Who suggests this horizontal devolution? The Finance Commission of India, constituted under the article number 280. So basically Finance Commission comes in between. Now guys, recently I told you the 15th Finance Commission come. Now after 14th Finance Commission, actually the things have got improved. 14th Finance Commission increased the money going to the states from 32% to 42%. Guys, keep it in mind, from 32% to 42%. So 14th Finance Commission increased the devolution for the state government. Okay, so over 40%, actually 42%. Now this 15th Finance Commission, it has put it to 41%. Why? Because Jammu, Kashmir, Ladakh became a separate union territory, and because they are now the states, so therefore it has been reduced to 41%. Okay, so this is the money that the center will be giving to the states government out of their money. This is something that is happening. But the issue comes is there that actually this 40% devolution has never happened. This 40% devolution never happened. It reached at 36.6% maximum, and right now only 29% devolution is being given. So guys, you see this particular map, share recommended by the present Finance Commission is 41%, but how much actually is going to the states? This is fine. So right now 29.6% is actually going to the states. So there is a gap. Okay, there is a gap. The states are not getting their money. Then the next problem comes here is that, guys, see, over the years what has happened, the states also got impacted, because I told you that the COVID-19 pandemic came, and when this COVID-19 pandemic came, the revenues fallen down, the taxations, that the money of the taxes that they have to receive, it fallen down. Because of that particular thing, the states got suffered. But guys, at the same time, center did not suffered. Now you understand that how center did not suffer. This is a very important concept to understand. Now first of all, union government's taxes, union government share continued to rise. Now how it continued to rise, let's understand this particular thing. Guys, basically there are the taxes, and then there are one more, that is a cess. Now when we talk about the taxes, the money that is being collected by the taxes by the government, this particular money is to be shared with the states. Okay, why? Because we have seen that the Finance Commission tells us that whatever money you are receiving, you have to share that particular money with the state. So taxes are to be shared, but along with that there are the cess. Now what is the cess? Cess is simply the tax on tax. Cess is simply the tax on tax. For example, I bought a 100 rupees pen. On this 100 rupees pen, there is a 10% tax. So the cost of the pen becomes 110 rupees, because 10% tax is there. Now guys, on this particular 10 rupees, which was a tax, on that one tax can be imposed, and that particular thing is called as a cess. Let's say on tax there is a 10% cess. On tax there is a 10% cess. It means that on this 10 rupee, this cess will be levied 1 rupee. Are you getting it or not? If not clear, no need to go too much into the detail. Okay, I hope first of all it is clear, because this is such a basic example. Okay, so whatever the tax is there, on that particular tax amount, extra levy could be made. That extra levy is called as a cess. Tax on tax, that is a cess. Now keep this particular thing in mind, that when the cesses are there, cess are not to be shared with the state government. Whatever money the center is getting by the cess, center will keep that particular money with them. They will not give that particular money to the state. So this is the difference, basic difference between the tax and cess. First of all, cess is imposed on tax first. Second, cess money will be kept only by the center government. It will not be shared with the state government. Guys, is it clear? Is it clear? Okay, now moving on. So what has actually happened now? Into the past few years, center has increased its money by levying more and more cess and more surcharge. Is it clear? If you see this particular, guys, around financial year 2012, 10.4% cess were being imposed. Today the cess amount has increased to 20%. So center is getting more money because they are imposing more cess, but the states, they are not getting any benefit. Now guys, in this particular direction, I want to show you this particular table. So what has happened, the center's share over the years have increased, but the state's share fine, it was going gradually at a particular place space, then their share is reduced. Why? Because during this particular time the lockdown came, but at the same time the center is amount is increasing. Why? Because they have increased their cess. Earlier around 11.5% cess was there, then it now it is 19.9%. This is the issue that is coming. Now guys, understand this particular thing. When the cess is there, one more important point I want to tell you, it's not the case that whatever money is coming through the cess they can keep that particular money, it's their money. No, that's not the case. Whatever money comes by the cess, that money is to be sent to a particular fund. Now guys, whatever money is collected by a cess, that particular money is to be used for a specific purpose. It is to be used for a specific purpose. For example, Swachh Bharat cess. Swachh Bharat cess will only be used for the Swachh Bharat Abhiyan. Okay, Krishi Kalyan cess. Krishi Kalyan cess only is to be used for the welfare of the agriculture sector. Now guys, understand that tax are open ended. The money that is coming by the tax, you can spend that particular money wherever you want. Okay, but the cess money cannot be spent anywhere. It can be used only on a specific purpose that will be mentioned when the cess will be imposed. But guys, what has happened over the years, even the central government has not spent that particular money that it collected on by the cess on that particular specific purpose. Here the Controller Auditor General CAG has given its report, and they had provided that between the financial year 2010 to financial year 2020, 1.28 lakh crore rupees were collected or as a cess on the crude oil, and this particular money would have to be transferred to the Oil Industry Development Board, OIDB, Oil Industry Development Board, but not a single rupee got transferred to this particular thing. And today guys, so much of the money is being collected through the cess, but that particular money is not being transferred to their dedicated fund. Is it clear? For example, in financial year 2020, what happened? In financial year 2020, 78,000 crore rupees were collected. Just a minute. 78,000 crore rupees were collected by the cess, and 40% of the cess were transferred to the Consolidated Fund of India. They were not transferred to their dedicated fund. So in this particular way, what has happened, the center government's allocation is increasing, but the state government are suffering. So this is how the fiscal federalism in India is getting subverted, how the states are not getting their money for the expenditure, and the states government's resources have increased over the years. So very good article. And guys, please download this particular explainer PDF, and actually more than this particular PDF, you need to know all this particular background and the explanation that is happening side by side. So that is about it. Okay, guys, you are sending some comments. I'll try to take your comment. There are limited percentage criteria for cess or not? No, there is no such kind of a criteria. Only one thing is that whatever money you are collecting by the cess, you have to use that money for a specific purpose. Okay. Okay. Sir, it is useful to paste important articles in one copy, particularly section wise. Yes, try to collect articles in one particular article. Fine. Fiscal federalism simply means that the states are to be given power for their finances. Moving to the next article, factoring in the risk. So this particular editorial article we have taken from the editorial section, and this particular article will see with respect to the GS paper number 3, environment ecology. Clear? Now guys, understand environment ecology and the impact of climate change also. There also we can see this particular article. So guys, this particular article, what it's talking about, this article is talking about, guys, recently what has happened. The monsoon in India has been good. Monsoon in India has been exceptionally good, around 8% better than the normal years. Now, when the monsoon is good, there is one positive thing and one negative thing. The positive thing is that it will be good for the agriculture. India has been an agrarian economy, and being an agrarian economy, 56% of people directly or indirectly are dependent on agriculture. And guys, when we talk about the agriculture, there are two types of agricultural fields. There are the irrigated agricultural fields. Now, the irrigated agricultural fields are those which have a kind of a connection with the canal water. Okay, canal water is there, or some water is being sent to them by the government. Now guys, government, you might be knowing that it is running Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana. Under the Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, the government tries to provide the water to the fields through the canals, through other channels, through the canals or other channels. So there are the irrigated fields. But then there are the rain fed fields. Now what are the rain fed fields? Rain fed agricultural fields, okay, or the farms are the ones who don't have any irrigation facility. They don't have any connection with the canal, okay, or all such kind of a thing. They are dependent only on the rain. They are dependent only on the rain. So now, and when we talk about the India's agricultural farms, majority of India's agricultural farm, more than 60% of India's farm, they are actually the rain fed farms. And for them, the rain is very much important. So guys, if the rainfall is good, it is directly going to be good for our agriculture sector. This is positive. But then there is, I told you, a negative impact also. The negative impact is this, that because of that, the floods, okay, cloudburst, landslides, okay, these kind of incidences will increase even more. Now guys, when we talk about basically these devastating outpours and floods that have been there, they are damaging the property, okay, and as well as there is the indirect losses that are being incurred. What is happening? It is impacting the schools, transport facilities, okay. It is leading to the loss of the productive hours. When there is a flooding, obviously you cannot do any work, you cannot go out, so the productive hours are getting wasted, okay. After that guys, after the flooding, what happens, the cattles, okay, that died, they are left over to perish. Then the saplings that are destroyed because of the flooding, they are just perishing outside. It spreads some of the pathogens, it spreads a lot of diseases, okay. It destroys many of the livelihoods. So see guys, many of the families, they are dependent on the animals, okay, the cattles for their sustenance. Now in the flooding, when these cattle die, their entire livelihood got destroyed. Moreover, it also spread certain pathogens and all these kind of diseases. So there is a kind of a very big problem. Now guys, when we talk about the role of monsoon plays a very important role in India's agricultural well-being. Now 75% of India's annual rainfall, it is stretched into the 4 months of the monsoon. Now when the monsoons are there, evenly the water is not spread throughout the country, okay. There are some areas which will receive more rainfall, there are some areas which will receive less rainfall. Now what is happening in the monsoon, the areas which are receiving the more rainfall, okay, they sometimes get flooded, and the most impacted and the most vulnerable areas are the hilly areas, Himalayan regions. Now guys, there was recently a report that was released by the Himachal Pradesh Department of Environment, Science and Technology, and this particular report provides that the mountain areas are highly vulnerable to natural disasters. And which type of disasters? Particularly the flooding, cloudburst, etc., which exacerbates when the monsoons will be there. Moreover guys, understand this particular thing, that into the recent past few years, the impact of such events have increased more. Why? Because of the development that has been carried into the Himalayan region. So guys, see this particular thing, that when we talk about the Himalayas have a very fragile kind of topography. They have fragile topography. But what is happening? What is happening in this fragile topography? We are developing big ticket projects, big hydropower projects are being installed, big infrastructure projects are being installed here, and their fragile topography gets impacted, and then the landslides will be there, destructions will be there, people will get impacted. All these particular issues are going to happen there. It has been provided that the cloudburst like events, fine, cyclones, droughts, all they have increased. Now guys, what government is trying to tackle this particular thing? Government has worked on one particular strategy, that is government is giving the early warning forecast. Okay, see, obviously you cannot avoid a cloudburst, you cannot avoid a cyclone. What you can do, you can warn the people in the time that what they should need to do. So the early warning forecast are being given, and in this particular capacity, Indian Meteorological Department is providing the fortnightly forecast. Fortnightly means that every 14 days, weekly forecast, and 3 hourly weather forecast are also being given, okay, and the integrated warnings are also there. But guys, actually sometimes they are not being given into the due time, and therefore the people are not able to prepare themselves, okay. So therefore what we need to do, we need to further more invest on the early warning, and we need to make sure that through the adequate broadcast mechanisms the early warnings can be provided to every people. And at the same time, in order to solve this particular problem into the long term, we need to make sure that our development should not be such that it is impacting the environment, that it is impacting the ecology. Guys, understand that always there is going to be a debate between the development and the environment. If you go for too much of development, it will impact environment, and if you conserve the environment, development will not be there. Now development is important for the poverty removal, for increasing the per capita income, and the environment is needed for our sustenance. So both are equally important, and always there is a kind of a dispute that is going to be there. So this is all, guys, about this particular article. I hope that you have understood it. Okay, Sai asks a question, sir, please explain horizontal devolution. See, it is not a horizontal tax, it is horizontal devolution. Horizontal devolution means that whatever money is being sent by the center to the states, okay, in that particular money, how much money will go to the different states. That is the horizontal devolution. What is a sapling? Saplings are the trees, okay, the saplings are the small trees, small plants, okay, and vegetation, etc. Now moving to the next article. No center for learning yet. Guys, this is a very good article, which will be important for GS paper number 2, within the GS paper number 2, social justice. Moreover, in the GS paper number 2, there has been in the UPSC syllabus, the UPSC has mentioned the welfare schemes and their evaluation. So in that particular topic also, the welfare schemes, will see this particular article. Okay, now let's see this particular article. Guys, this particular article, it is talking about the analysis of the Anganwadi centers or Anganwadi scheme. Before going in this article, I would like to give you some background, and guys, that particular background I had integrated in this particular note. Okay, let's see this particular background. So guys, there is one government's very important scheme, and we'll read about this particular scheme first, and then we'll be reading this particular article, because then that article will make more sense. So guys, understand, we have the Integrated Child Development Services, ICDS. This is a very old scheme that was started by the government in 1975. Now under this particular ICDS, government is trying to provide the service to the children between the 0 to 6 years. Now guys, when we talk about this ICDS scheme, under the ICDS scheme, early childhood care of the children is being emphasized. Now you understand this particular thing, guys, that see, when we talk about the children between the 0 to 6 years, this is a very crucial period for a child's physical and cognitive development. Cognitive development means mental development. If during these 0 to 6 years he will be given adequate nutrition, he is given adequate care, his physical health will become better, which will make him a productive workforce, which will make him a productive labor force, and because of that, economic benefit will come to country in the long term. Cognitive well-being. Now guys, your mind, your mental well-being depends directly on the nutrition. It depends on your education. It depends on the type of activities you are doing in the age of 0 to 6 years. Now guys, understand this particular thing. India is going through the window of the demographic dividend. Demographic dividend means that we have a very large young population, and this young population can help India in economic productivity. So India is passing in the window of demographic dividend, where our population will provide us benefit. Now if we want to make sure our population is healthy, we want to make sure that our population is having cognitive skills. So therefore, on this particular front, we are running this ICDS scheme since 1975. It aims to provide the early childhood care. It aims to provide early childhood development. Children between 0 to 6 years are emphasized. Now, what are the objectives of this ICDS scheme? The ICDS scheme, it aims to improve the nutritional and health status of the children in the age of 0 to 6 years. It wants to provide the proper psychological, physical and social development to the children. It wants to reduce the incidence of mortality. Children, they are dying because of disease, because of many avoidable factors. So their mortality is to be reduced. Morbidity, malnutrition, okay, school dropout, fine. All these are to be reduced. Malnutrition, they are fine. Many times they are not able to eat adequate food. Okay, morbidity. okay, they are many times getting ill because of some diseases, okay, sometimes they are getting impacted because of some social factors. So all these particular things are to be helped. School dropouts are to be reduced, okay. Coordination of policy, then the it wants to enhance the capability of mother. Now guys, mother is the primary caregiver, so mother is also needed to be made educated. Now within the ICDS, 6 services are provided to the children. 6 services are provided to the children. What are these? Supplementary nutrition, food will be provided. Preschool and non-formal education. Guys, non-formal education is like, for example, children are to be taught what should be done, what should not be done, how to behave, how not to behave. These are the preschool non-formal education. Nutrition and health education is provided to the mothers as well as children also. Immunization of children is carried. Health checkup, referral services, okay. Referral service, for example, let's say a child got ill and he has to be sent to some other kind of a medical facility. Let's say he has to be sent to a primary healthcare facility. Let's say he has to be sent to a community healthcare center, okay. So the referrals in such kind of things are also being provided here, and referrals for other. Now see, referral is not only for the health, referral is for other program also. Are you getting it or not? Let's say a family or a child is getting suffered because of one particular problem, they can refer them that which government office, which government department they want to meet. So referral in the health, referral in other areas, all will be provided by this ICDS. Now guys, how this ICDS service will be provided? So there needs to be a physical center, and in this particular capacity there are the Anganwadi centers that have been provided. So guys, there are the Anganwadi centers throughout the country, and these Anganwadi centers are providing actually all these particular schemes. Moreover, Anganwadi center has also one more objective. What Anganwadi center is doing? Anganwadi center is also providing some Anganwadi center, it is also providing the it is providing the, just a minute, okay, education to the children in the age group of 3 to 6 years. We have 1.3 million Anganwadi centers across the country, and they are providing the education to the children also. Now guys, the Anganwadi centers have been a very important development because they provide all these services and then they provide education, and for the poor people these Anganwadi centers are very much important. Now guys, it has been provided. See, when we talk about Anganwadi centers, over 70% of children are enrolled into the Anganwadi. They are enrolled that they will be receiving education there, but there is a very low attendance into these Anganwadi centers. Simply parents, they don't want to send their children into the Anganwadi centers. So what are the issue? Now guys, it has been provided that the Anganwadi centers, they are shaped as the people and the parents, they think that their only children will go to play, okay. There is no substantial good education that can be provided by the Anganwadi. This is the perception of the Anganwadi centers. Is it clear or not? Parents, they think that first of all, Anganwadis is good for some purposes. For example, they can provide ration, it is good. They can provide immunization, that is good, okay. But education, for education, people don't trust the Anganwadi centers. Parents, they don't just see education as a formality, rather they see education as a way to achieve, a way to fulfill their aspirations. They see education as a pathway to social mobility. Now some families are poor, okay. Now they think that if their children will get educated, thus their social mobility, their well-being will happen through the education, and therefore they want to make sure that the best of the best education a child is receiving. Moreover guys, when we talk about the parents, 80% of the parents, they think that social mobility will only happen through the English education and math skill. And when the Anganwadi centers are there, Anganwadi centers are not specifically focusing on English and mathematics, rather they are trying to teach them in a playful way, This is something which the parents don't perceive as a positive. Now it has been provided that ECCE curriculum, that is the Early Childhood Care and Education. ECCE stands for Early Childhood Care and Education. Fine. It focuses on the local languages. It focuses on to the play-based pedagogy. Fine. खेलते खेलते सीखना, play based pedagogy, okay. All these particular things are there. Activity, play based activities, activity based learning, all these are focused, but the parents don't perceive them positively. So therefore what is happening, the parents are not sending their children into the Anganwadi centers. Now guys, it has been provided that there are over 7 million children in India attend these basically age appropriate private preschools and not the Anganwadi centers. So private preschools are being focused. Now what could be the way forward that these Anganwadi centers can actually achieve what they were expected to achieve? So there are certain way forwards. Now guys, these way forwards are very good. You can directly use these way forwards in your examination. Now the first way forward that has been provided is that basically these Anganwadi centers are needed to be little bit changed as the way that they are operating. They are to be provided, Anganwadi centers are to be provided the daily schedules that balance between two things: self-styled free play, okay, free play that is happening there, okay, children are learning while they are playing, that free play needs to be there, and secondly there needs to be the regular teacher-led activities also, okay. If these teacher-led activities will be there, the parents will become confident that they can send their children into the Anganwadis. Then the second is that there needs to be the regular Shiksha Chopals. What are the Shiksha Chopals? Shiksha Chopals simply means the parent teacher meeting. Okay, in this parent teacher meeting, the Anganwadi workers and parents can come together. Parents can keep forward their grievances. Anganwadi centers can tell them that how they are helping the children in getting educated, what they are teaching, what is the status of their children, and all these kind of things. It will increase the trust in the Anganwadi centers. Then the third thing has been provided that regular messages can be shared with the parents, and they need to be told that the nature of engagement expected from them to maintain the momentum of what is learned at school. Basically the education or the things that are being learned into the Anganwadi or the school, that are to be complemented at home also. So in this particular direction, Anganwadi centers can send messages to the parents that how they need to behave, what they need to do, so that the learning can be complemented. Changing ECCE curriculum. Now early childhood care and education curriculum is to be changed. Okay, it has been provided. It has been provided. Just a minute. It has been provided that when we talk about the ECCE, early childhood care and education, now the parents think that this particular curriculum is not correct. The parents think that in this ECCE where the playful learning is focused, it will not going to improve their children's future. But this kind of a mindset is not a kind of a good mindset. Into the long term, children are to be given certain kind of skills. Children are to be nudged at the cognitive level, and that is something this particular Anganwadi centers are doing. So this particular mindset is also needed to be addressed. So that is all guys about this particular article. I hope that you have understood this particular article. That's all about this particular thing, and now we'll move to the next article. Okay. Anushesh, you can contact me on Telegram. Okay, you can send me a message on Telegram. Anushesh, fine. Please made the monthly or weekly compilation. Okay, dear, monthly compilation are being provided already. It is available on Telegram channel. Okay, how many months before we should follow the Hindu analysis before giving UPSC prelims? 1 year at least. Now, the road to China's 20th Party Congress. Now guys, understand that when we talk about the China at every 5 year, they undertake their Congress. Okay, Congress. Now what is the Congress? Congress is a kind of a meet that the Communist Party of China undertakes every 5 years, and they discuss what they have achieved in the past and what they want to do in the next 5 years. Now guys, you know that when we talk about the China, in the China, Communist Party of China is the political party that majorly rules the China. So now what is happening, the China is going to organize their 20th CCP. They are going to organize their 20th Congress of Chinese Communist Party, and this 20th Congress will be held by the end of this particular year. Now before this 20th Congress of the Communist Party holds, what are the priorities or what are the focus areas on which they will be concerning about? This is something that has been provided in this particular article. So guys, understand this particular thing, that this 20th Party Congress that is going to be held before the end of this particular year, it is significant for many reasons. Number one reason is there that right now there is a great disorder that is going in the China. Now guys, let's understand this particular great disorder that is going on. There are many factors. Number one guys, when this particular pandemic of COVID-19 started, the world countries said that the origin of this particular pandemic lies in the China. The origin lies in the China. And because of that particular thing, many countries condemned the China, number one. Number two, what has happened? Basically, decoupling. Again, I'm repeating the word decoupling. What is this decoupling? Decoupling means that the many of the countries, they wanted to disengage from the China. They were dependent too much onto the China. China has been called as the factory of the world. So there is a disengagement, decoupling that is going on. That has impacted the China. Third thing is, guys, that basically since 1990 onwards, China has registered the double digit growth. But now what is happening? This double digit growth is getting impacted. How it is getting impacting? Because of the lockdown that came first, COVID pandemic that came first, and then the different countries as they are disengaging with the China. So this decoupling is going on in the China. Then, guys, the next thing that is going there is that basically China's economy is still doing better than most of the world economies, but still it has suffered a lot. Moreover, on the strategic front also, China has got impacted. And guys, at all these particular things had impacted even the popularity of the Xi Jinping in China. So this is a great disorder that is there in the China. And in this particular background, this 20th Congress of the Chinese Communist Party is being organized. Now, guys, when we talk about the assessment, China's worldview has been altered. Now China believes that the United Nations has become dysfunctional. Why the United Nations has become dysfunctional according to China? China has this particular narrative that deliberately that China is being targeted on many of the fronts. China's sensitivities are not being taken care of. Moreover, guys, understand this particular thing. In the United Nations, the West has a very considerable role. Even in major other international bodies also, the US has a very important role. So basically the China believes that they are always be working against the Chinese interest only. Moreover, guys, understand this particular thing that what has happening, China is facing a threat of containment. Now what is this threat of containment? Basically the USA, India, China thinks that they want to contain the China from all the sides. Now, guys, understand this particular thing. For example, there is a quadrilateral security dialogue, Quad. In the Quad, there are the 4 member countries. Who are the member countries? There is USA, there is India, there is Japan, and there is Australia. Now, moreover, guys, now if you see the location of these countries, basically aligned in such a way that the China feels that the China is being contained from all the sides. Earlier, there was the pivot to Asia. Now, pivot to Asia was a policy during the time of Barack Obama, where the Barack Obama wanted to contain China. Now the Quad has come. So the China thinks that they are being tried to contain from all the sides, and all this particular thing is being done so that the China's rise, China's superpower status, which they are trying to achieve in the coming few years, it can be impacted. Then, guys, moving on in this particular direction. Further, I have told you that into the Indo-Pacific region, the Quad, then the AUKUS has come. Okay, AUKUS. In AUKUS, there are the 3 countries, UK, Australia, and the USA. And under the AUKUS, nuclear powered submarines are being provided to the Australia by the US and UK. So China thinks that all is to contain the China. After that, guys, China, there is escalation domination metrics that the China is now trying to flaunt. Guys, this word is very important, and please do use these keywords in your answers. What is this escalation domination metrics? Basically, because China thinks that everybody is targeting China, China wants to showcase their power more and more, and they are showcasing their nuclear weapons. What they are doing, they are showcasing their nuclear weapons. They are showcasing their newer forms of hybrid warfare. Okay, recently what has happened, hypersonic missile was tested by the China. Okay, so they are trying to counter this particular thing. And guys, in this particular background, the 20th Congress is going to be held. In this 20th Congress, Mr. Xi's foreign policy initiatives will be put a seal. Either the Congress, the Communist Party, China's highest meeting, it will be approving the Xi Jinping that okay, you have led the country well, or they might condemn the Xi Jinping. So the seal will be put. That could be a positive, that could be a negative, but guys, more or less the positive seal will be put onto the Xi Jinping, because guys, the Xi Jinping's economy is, or the China's economy is still doing better, and the China is, yes, onto the path of becoming a superpower, and all these kind of things are there. Then guys, recently there are the troubles that happened in the Taiwan also. What happened? The US House Speaker Nancy Pelosi visited the Taiwan. Now when we talk about the Taiwan, basically China has maintained the one China principle. In this one China principle, China says that the Taiwan is not an independent country, and if anybody will make independent relation with the Taiwan, then it will think that then it will go against the Chinese interest. Now the US's speaker visited directly to the Taiwan. It means that they are trying to subvert the China. So this incident happened. Then guys, after that particular thing, many other kind of things are also happening. The dispute with the India is there. In the neighborhood, the China is being criticized. In all these particular background, this 20th Congress is going to be held. So guys, this is something fine. The road to China's 20th Party Congress. This is talking about the context in which it is going to be held. Now we'll see once this particular meet will happen, as what are the outcomes of this particular meet. So when it will be happening, we'll be seeing these particular outcomes. Is it clear or not? So guys, I hope that this is clear, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Executions in Myanmar. Executions in Myanmar. So this particular article, guys, is talking about the political scenario, the military scenario, the political turmoil that is happening into the Myanmar. Okay, now guys, I will be giving the entire background of this particular article, because guys, this particular issue becomes important into the context of the India-Myanmar relations. Now, before going on this particular article, this article will be important in GS paper number 2. GS paper number 2, international relations, India, Myanmar, or the India's neighborhood, or the India's neighborhood. Fine. So first of all, let's see the map of the Myanmar. Now guys, here you can see in green Myanmar. So who are the neighbors of Myanmar first of all? So the neighbors of Myanmar are Bangladesh. Okay, just a minute. I'll use a different pen. So the neighbors of Myanmar are Bangladesh. Then there is India. Just a minute. So there is Bangladesh. Then there is India, who is a neighbor. Then guys, China is the neighbor of Myanmar. Then after that there is the Laos. There is Laos. Okay. And then guys, there is Thailand. There is Thailand. So these are the neighbors of the Myanmar. You can just see again on the map. So we have the Bangladesh. Okay. Then we have the India. Then we have China. Okay, then we have Laos, then we have Thailand. Okay, so all these are the neighbors of the Myanmar. Now what is the political scenario in the Myanmar? So guys, understand this particular thing that when we talk about the Myanmar, period of 1962 to 2011 of Myanmar was one where the military rule was going on in the Myanmar. Now guys, basically the Aung San Suu Kyi, okay, Aung San Suu Kyi, she has been a leader in Myanmar who has always talked about the democracy, and she has always supported the democracy in the Myanmar. Now guys, after 1989, even the Aung San Suu Kyi was put into the jail for a considerable period of time, and the military has ruled. Now guys, the condition into the Myanmar looked that they are going to improve in 2010. So what happened? Actually in 2010, I told you that 1962 to 2011 military rule is there. Now in 2010, what happened? Military backed Union Solidarity and Development Party, USDP party. This particular party said that okay, so many years there is a military dictatorship that is going on, let's announce the elections. So the elections were announced, and this USDP, this is the party that was backed by the military, it won the election. Now guys, at this point of a time, Aung San Suu Kyi, her political party, its name was NLD, National League for Democracy. Now Aung San Suu Kyi, she said that we denounce this particular election. Why? Because this particular elections are not free and fair. So they denounced this particular elections. Then guys, what happened? In 2010, Aung San Suu Kyi, basically at that point of a time, she was in jail. She was freed after 7 years of house arrest. So I told you that since 1990s, she has been put onto the jail. So at that point of a time, she was into the house arrest. She was freed after 7 years. Now guys, what happened? 2011, for the first time, elected parliament came. And in this elected parliament, who was the dominant party? Dominant party was the USDP. Now this USDP, we have already seen, was the party party which was ruled by the military leaders. Okay, so this is something happening. It was said that actually in name the democracy, in name the free governance has been installed into the Myanmar. Then guys, the next landmark that came was in 2015, and this 2015 landmark was very much important. In 2015, NLD, that is the National League for Democracy. National League for Democracy is the party of the Aung San Suu Kyi. Okay, so you can see the name here. Okay, I am highlighting Aung San Suu Kyi. So it is pronounced as Aung San Suu Kyi. So her NLD, it became victorious. Okay, and it has been called as that it was the first free election that happened, and she became the she became the de facto leader of the Myanmar. Now guys, this is going on, and at that point of, and after that the next election were convened in 2020. Now in the 2020 election also the NLD got a lot of power. Now guys, as the NLD is winning the election in 2015, 2020, the military saw this particular thing, that their rule, their power is declining. Okay, even the USDP, that was the party that was promoted by the military of the Myanmar, it said that there is a lot of voter fraud that has happened. It has even challenged this particular election. Okay, now guys, as this particular thing is going on, what happened, basically in 2021 military provided that there needs to be the investigation, that there is a water fraud, etc., that has happened. Okay, and guys, finally in the February 2021, what happened, military detained the Aung San Suu Kyi. Okay, and they carried the coup and they declared the state of emergency in the February 2021, and since February 2021 the Myanmar is under the military emergency. There is a coup that has been insisted there. Okay, so this is something that has happened. Now guys, as this is going on, more than 1.5 years have happened, this military coup is going on, and basically the emergency has been heightened into the Myanmar. Recently the democracy activists, they were executed. Recently the Aung San Suu Kyi's punishment was increased. All the elected leaders that are there into the Myanmar, they have been arrested. Protesters are protesting in the country. So there is a lot of turmoil, a lot of breakdown has happened in the entire Myanmar. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that when we talk about the Myanmar, there is the resistance that is going on. Now what is the meaning of resistance? Resistance means that the civil groups, they have not accepted the military's rule. So basically right now there is the young adults who are protesting, there are the members of the political parties who are protesting, the civil society is protesting, then there are some of the government officials who are protesting. Okay, and all of them are protesting against the draconian measures that have been used by the military, including arresting of the people, execution of the democracy activists, increasing the jail for the Aung San Suu Kyi, and all those things that is going on. Now guys, today in the Myanmar there is a national unity government that is also there. Now who are the national unity government? National unity government, okay, there is a national unity government, fine, which is trying to coordinate the resistance. So I told you that there are the different groups. There are the young adults, there are the civil societies, there are the government officials. So the national unity government is trying to bring a coordination in all of them so that they can give the united resistance. Then there are the People's Defense Forces. Now People Defense Forces, PDF, it is an armed wing. Now it is an armed wing, it carry attacks on the military, it carries attacks against the military and on some specific target. So this is something that is going on. Now guys, in a way, what has happened, there is an entire breakdown of machinery in Myanmar, and many of the political scientists, they have said that Myanmar is now going in a civil war type of state, and if this civil war will not be stopped, then Myanmar's all the gains that they have gained in the past few years, it will be lost. Now during this particular time, ASEAN, okay, Association of the Southeast Asian Nations, ASEAN. So ASEAN is a very important organization, and the Myanmar has a lot of deep relation with the ASEAN, that is the Association of Southeast Asian Nations. Economically, a lot Myanmar is dependent on ASEAN. Now ASEAN has basically earlier had the policy of non-interference. In this particular policy of non-interference, ASEAN said that we will not be interfering into the internal matters of any particular country. But now ASEAN is asking the Myanmar's military that you should abandon your way of operation and need to restore back the democracy as soon as possible. ASEAN prepared the 5-point agenda. ASEAN prepared the 5-point agenda. This 5-point agenda simply means that release the political prisoners, conduct the election. All these particular things are there in the 5 point agenda. Okay, but guys, the Myanmar, it is not willing to accept the ASEAN's recommendation. Moreover, it is not even disturbed that the ASEAN will impose some sanctions on them. Why? Because the China is coming in between. So basically what has happened, China has provided that meanwhile China will increase the engagement with the Myanmar. So therefore the Myanmar's military is not perplexed. Now guys, question is coming that how India needs to respond. So basically, if see Myanmar, lot of, if let's say Myanmar become destabilized, a spillover effect will be there in India also, particularly in the northeast. So what is the way forward of India? So there could be the three-pronged strategy, three-step strategy that India can follow. Number one, India needs to collaborate with the like-minded ASEAN countries. Like-minded ASEAN countries, and all these countries need to make a grouping, and that particular grouping should give an ultimatum on to the Myanmar that they need to correct, they need to mend their ways. Then next thing is that we can use we can urge the Tatmadaw. Now guys, the Tatmadaw means the military of the Myanmar. We can urge the military of the Myanmar to start a reconciliation process, that they should talk with the resistance groups, okay, the government groups, the public officials, okay, the civil societies. They should talk with them, and a sustainable solution needs to be found out. So we can urge the military of the Myanmar. And the third is that we can prepare the political administrative resources into the northeast. Now guys, see this particular map. So we saw this particular thing that the Myanmar has a very big boundary with the India, and if there is a lot of any kind of instability, obviously the spillover effect will come in the India, particularly into the northeast. So what we can do, we can prepare the political administrative resources in the northeast, and they need to support the people who need some kind of assistance. Humanitarian aid is to be provided to the people who are across the border. Humanitarian aid is to be provided to them. So these are the three-pronged strategies that India can work upon and that India can use in order to solve this particular problem of Myanmar. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that when we talk about Myanmar happens to be a very important partner. Why? Because India is following the neighborhood first policy, and in the India's neighborhood first policy, India expects that India will help their all the partners, and therefore India's assistance to Myanmar becomes very crucial in this particular time. So that is all about this particular article. Moreover guys, understand this particular thing. Even India's Gujarat doctrine was aimed at helping the neighbors. Neighborhood first policy is aimed at helping the neighbors. Moreover, the Act East policy of India is all concerned about our extended neighborhood. So therefore we needed to help in this particular times. Now moving to the next article. Tomato flu detected amongst the children in India, says Lancet. Tomato flu. So guys, we'll see this particular article with respect to the GS paper number 2 as well as GS paper number 3 health. GS paper number 2 as well as GS paper number 3 health. Now guys, what has happened, there is a new type of infection that has been detected, that is the tomato flu or the tomato fever. Now this particular report has been given by the Lancet Respiratory Journal. Now when we talk about the Lancet happens to be one of the most reputed health journal of the world, and it has provided that India is seeing the tomato flu or the tomato fever. Now guys, when we talk about the tomato flu, the symptoms of this tomato flu are very much similar to chikungunya, and the instances of high fever, rashes, intense pain in the joints, okay, fatigue, nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, dehydration, swelling of joints, body aches, or influenza symptoms will be there. Now when we talk about this tomato influenza, it impacts the children who are younger than the age of 5. So the children younger than the age of 5, the tomato influenza impacts them. Now when we talk about this tomato flu, fine. So guys, it is caused by the Coxsackie virus A16. Again I'll repeat, Coxsackie virus A16, and it belongs to the enterovirus family. Okay, so these are some of the factuals with respect to this particular tomato virus. Again I'll repeat, it is caused by the Coxsackie virus A16, and it belongs to the enterovirus family. Okay, and who it impacts majorly the children younger than the age of 5. Okay, and what are the symptoms? Symptoms are similar to chikungunya, all of these particular symptoms. And what is the treatment is the same which is carried in any kind of an infection, that is the paracetamol is a primary medication, giving a lot of fluids, keeping a person hydrated. Okay, all these particular are the treatments. However, that is not important for our examination. So that is all guys about this particular tomato fever. And this tomato fever, the cases are being reported in Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Odisha. Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Odisha. And basically for that particular thing, people are being tested for the fever, and the strategy is same. I treat the number one is the track people, trace people, quarantine the people, track people, trace people, quarantine people, and then treat the people. This is the same strategy that is to be followed. So guys, that is all about this particular article. Beyond that, you don't need to go. Now you don't need to do the doctorate in the tomato fever, tomato flu. That is not important for our examination. This is the most that you need to read. So that is all guys about this particular article. And with this, we come to an end to the today's newspaper analysis. Guys, I hope that you are liking the video and you are appreciating the effort that we are taking here in order to make the things easy and simplified, along with covering the maximum of the dimensions. So guys, if you have liked, please do hit the like button. Please do leave your lovely comments. I try to reply to every comment. I read each of your comment and they feel very good. They motivate us to work even more harder. So guys, now we'll be meeting tomorrow. Till then guys, please take care of yourselves, and please keep on revising. Thank you so much.